Welcome to Life Stories, where we dive deep into the human experience, exploring the twists and turns that shape our lives. Today's story is one of betrayal, power, and the ultimate price of trust. Follow James Carter, a self made billionaire, as he uncovers a web of deceit spun by those closest to him. Betrayed by his wife and her accomplices, James sets a masterful plan in motion to ensure justice is served. But in the end, he learns that true power isn't in punishment, it's in the ability to grant mercy or withhold it. Subscribe to the channel to begin today's story. I stand here, alone, gazing over the skyline of New York from my penthouse, 38 stories above the bustling streets. The city that never sleeps stretches before me, a sea of lights reflecting the empire I've built. Carter Security Solutions, my company, has grown from nothing into a billion-dollar powerhouse, trusted by the highest echelons of power, from corporate giants to government leaders. It's taken everything I've had to get here, every ounce of energy, every shred of focus. I built this with my bare hands, through sheer willpower. And yet, here I am, holding a glass of aged scotch, staring into the endless expanse of possibility and emptiness that the city below represents. I never thought I'd feel this way. After everything I've achieved, I should be content. I should feel victorious. But there's a deep ache inside of me, a gnawing sensation that I can't shake off. It's been creeping in for years, and now, in the quiet of the night, it's louder than ever. My phone buzzes on the glass table beside me, breaking the silence. I pick it up and glance at the screen. It's a text message from my assistant. The contract's ready. $15 million in cash. It's a major deal, one of my largest yet, a contract that could solidify my reputation even further. A royal family, willing to pay in cash for top-tier security services. Everything I've worked for, everything I've strived to achieve, is about to pay off. But as I look at the message, I feel a twinge of unease. My wife, Emily, is behind me, standing in the doorway of our bedroom. I can hear her voice, soft and almost too casual. "Are you coming to bed?" She doesn't understand. Not really. She doesn't understand the weight of this empire I've created or the toll it takes on a person to keep it running. And it's not just the work, it's the trust, or rather, the lack of it. Trust is the foundation of everything, isn't it? In business, in relationships. But when it's betrayed, it shatters everything you thought you knew about the world. I turn to face her. She's beautiful, her auburn hair falling around her shoulders, the kind of beauty that commands attention. At 32, she's still the same woman I noticed years ago at that security convention in Denver. She had been working as a hospitality coordinator, and I had been captivated by her from the first moment. We got married quickly, and for the first few years, I thought it was everything I wanted. But now I'm not so sure. The Saudi contract came through, I say, my voice steady, even though something inside me feels like it's cracking. $15 million in cash. Tomorrow. Emily doesn't react the way I expect. Her eyes widen for a moment, but then they settle back into that practiced indifference. It's a look I've come to recognize all too well. "That's amazing, James," she says, her tone almost robotic. I watch her carefully, noticing the slight tension in her shoulders, the way her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes. There's something there, something I can't place, and for the first time in years, I don't miss it. I see it clearly. "We're celebrating tomorrow night," I say, my voice firm. "Wear the black dress I bought you in Milan. It's not a request." I can see her eyes flicker with something. Annoyance? Maybe. But there's something deeper, a secret she's been keeping from me for months, maybe years. Later that night, as Emily sleeps beside me, I can't shake the feeling that something isn't right. I pull out my tablet and begin scrolling through the security footage from our home. It's a late-night habit of mine, one that I rarely admit to anyone. I'm a man of precision, and in my world, precision means control. It means not leaving anything to chance. And then I see it. I watch as Emily slips out of bed and walks toward the guest bathroom. She closes the door, but the microphone I installed months ago picks up her voice, faint but clear. "He's closing the Saudi deal tomorrow," she whispers into the phone. 15 million cash. Yes, I know what to do. No, he doesn't suspect anything. I feel the ground beneath me shift. Betrayal. It isn't new to me. My mother abandoned my father and me when I was just a boy. My father turned to the bottle. My first business partner tried to sell our security algorithms to competitors. I dismantled his life systematically. But this is different. This is personal. This is the woman I've trusted, the woman I thought I loved, the woman I married, the same woman who's been planning to steal everything I've worked for. As I close the tablet, my face is unreadable. I've been betrayed before, but never like this. Never so close. The lesson is clear. Betrayal has consequences, and I'm going to make sure Emily learns that lesson in the hardest way possible. Sleep doesn't come easy that night. As I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, I think about the life I've built, the empire, the reputation, the wealth, and I realize something that makes my stomach tighten with anger. None of it matters if it isn't built on trust. And trust, as I've learned, is a fragile thing. Once it's broken, it can never be the same again. The game has already begun, and I won't lose. The plan is set, and when Emily realizes that she's trapped in my web, it will be far too late for her to escape. The morning arrived with a sharp clarity. I could feel the weight of the day pressing down on me as I stepped into my office at Carter Security Solutions. Today was the day everything would change. The Saudi delegation was arriving at 10 a.m., and with them, $15 million in cash. It was one of the largest deals I'd ever secured, and while most would be basking in the glory of such a monumental achievement, I was already preparing for the next phase of my plan. Prince Abdullah and his security chief, Farid, arrived at precisely 10 a.m., as expected. I greeted them in the sleek, modern lobby of my office building, my smile never faltering. We exchanged pleasantries, nothing too revealing, nothing too personal. The prince's reputation preceded him, known for both his extravagant lifestyle and the powerful enemies he had made. The contract required that my team provide comprehensive security for his daughter during her global university tour, a detail I found both intriguing and, to be honest, a bit of a headache. A high-profile job for a high-profile client. Perfect. I watched as Farid, the prince's security chief, placed the $15 million in specially designed carbon fiber cases on the marble conference table. The money was non-traceable, just as they had requested. Farid's eyes locked onto mine as he said, "The money is all here. Untraceable, as requested." I nodded, accepting the cases with a calm, composed demeanor. But inside, I was already thinking of something else. My mind was racing, piecing together the puzzle that Emily, Ethan, and Lucas had been putting together. The timing was too perfect, the opportunity too clear for me to ignore. I wasn't about to let them get away with it. They thought they had outsmarted me, that they could take what was mine without any consequences. But they were wrong. I made a mental note to secure the money in the vault and to handle the rest of the logistics with the utmost care. I wasn't about to let anyone, least of all my wife, think they could steal from me and walk away unscathed. There would be no easy escape. There would be no happy endings. Sophia Martinez, my chief operations officer, entered my office shortly after the delegation left. Sophia had been with me from the beginning. At 43, she was sharp, efficient, and one of the few people I trusted without question. Her eyes quickly scanned the cases of cash on the table. $15 million in cash, she said, her tone low, almost reverent. Quite a security risk itself. I smiled, but the feeling behind it was far from genuine. It's already handled, I said. The cases have GPS tracking and the bills are marked with infrared ink. Standard procedure. Sophia nodded, her expression unreadable. What's the plan for the princess's detail? I wasn't surprised that she had picked up on my distracted thoughts. Sophia had always been intuitive, able to read me in a way that others couldn't. Logan will lead it, I said, referring to Logan Price, my most trusted field operative. He's already assembled the team. We'll start prepping as soon as possible. As she left, I dialed my old banker, Reginald Foster. He was the man I trusted to handle my most sensitive financial matters, the one person who knew how to keep things quiet when it mattered. Reginald, I said as soon as he picked up, I need a special arrangement tonight. Of course, Mr. Carter. The usual discretion? Reginald replied, his voice smooth, professional. Absolutely, I said, and I need something else. A duplicate set of cases, identical to the ones I'm bringing in. Can it be ready by 5? There was a slight pause. Yes, sir, Reginald said. I'll have everything prepared. As the call ended, I opened the tracking software that monitored Emily's phone. She was in the Seaport district, just as I suspected, having lunch with Ethan. Nothing suspicious on the surface, but I knew better than to take anything at face value. I activated the remote microphone on her phone, and the conversation that followed made my stomach tighten. Everything's on track. Emily's voice came through clearly. He doesn't suspect anything. Are you sure? Ethan's voice was low, careful. Absolutely, Emily replied. We'll be out of here soon enough. One more night, and it'll all be ours. As I listened, the sense of betrayal grew. I had known about Lucas for years, of course, a struggling artist who had never made much of himself. But this was something different. Emily had been planning this for months. I didn't know when it started, but I now knew how it would end. The pieces were falling into place. I wasn't going to let them steal everything from me. Not this time. Not when I had so much to lose. The game was on, and I was going to win. The day stretched on like a game of chess, each move calculated, each decision deliberate. As the evening descended on the city, I found myself at the dining room table, staring at the cases of cash. $15 million, an amount that could change anyone's life, could buy anyone's freedom, and yet it was nothing more than a tool for my next move. I was playing a game that had no room for weakness, and I was prepared to go all the way. Emily sat across from me, her face carefully composed, as though nothing had changed. She didn't know that I had already set the trap. The cash wasn't what it seemed. She thought it was her ticket out, her escape route. But I had a different plan in mind. The bills inside the cases weren't all real. Unreal. Only $1 million was legitimate. The rest were counterfeit, layered carefully beneath the real cash, each bill marked with invisible tracking ink. And hidden within the cases, small listening devices recorded every word they would speak. James, I'm thinking of taking the money to the bank tonight, Emily said, her voice too eager. Her excitement was palpable, but so was the thin veneer of nervousness that ran beneath her words. I looked at her, my expression unreadable. The bank's closed tonight, I replied calmly. We'll have to keep it here until tomorrow morning. I'll take care of it in the morning. I let my words hang in the air, knowing that they would only deepen her sense of urgency. But I had to make sure she was fully invested in the deception. I had to make her believe she was still in control. There's a safe in the panic room, I added, lying through my teeth. Only you and I know the combination. Keep it there until tomorrow. Emily nodded, but her eyes flickered. She was cautious, always calculating, and she knew something was off. But at this point, there was no turning back for her. She had made her choice, and now she had to live with it. Later, I kissed her goodnight and headed for the elevator, making my way to the maintenance level of the building where Logan Price was waiting in an unmarked van. Logan, as always, was calm and collected, his military training providing him with an air of quiet authority. Everything set? I asked as I climbed into the van, already knowing the answer. Logan nodded. All systems are go. We've got surveillance on Emily and Ethan. We've also located Lucas at a motel on Route 1. He's been there for 2 days. I didn't respond immediately, instead turning my attention to the tablet in my hands. The live feed from the hidden cameras in my penthouse showed Emily pacing in the living room, phone in hand. I activated the microphone, and soon her voice filtered through the speakers. He left the money here. $15 million in cash, Emily whispered. He's gone to some emergency meeting, but he won't be back until midnight. We have time. Lucas's voice crackled through. Are you sure? Is the alarm disabled? Not yet, Emily replied. I'll handle it when you get here. Just text me when you're downstairs. I could see her moving around the house, preparing to betray me. The realization hit me like a punch in the gut, but I didn't allow myself to show it. I had known this moment was coming, and I had been preparing for it. The next few hours were a blur of tension and calculated patience. I watched as Emily, Ethan, and Lucas went about their plan, blissfully unaware that I had already orchestrated every detail. As they loaded the cases into the elevator, my eyes remained fixed on the security feed, tracking their every move. They had no idea how much danger they were in. Soon enough, the BMW carrying Emily and Ethan pulled out of the parking garage. They were heading north, toward the secluded cabin in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, the perfect place to hide, away from prying eyes. It was exactly where I had predicted they would go. Logan's voice broke through my thoughts. "Should we stop them now?" he asked. I shook my head. "No, let them think they've won. The real game is just beginning." As I activated the tracking program on my tablet, the two dots marking the stolen cases blinked as they moved through the city. I could see exactly where they were heading, and I knew, without a doubt, that they were walking into a trap of my making. I let them drive for 3 hours, the signal stopping in a remote wooded area near Conway, New Hampshire. They had arrived at the cabin, and I could feel the tension in the air as the trap was finally set. Emily, Ethan, and Lucas were about to discover the first part of my plan, and by the time they realized what was happening, it would be far too late to escape. As the days passed, the reality of their situation began to settle in. Emily, Ethan, and Lucas were now living in a gilded cage of my design. Their new lives, their new identities, everything had been carefully orchestrated to ensure they would never forget the consequences of their betrayal. They had thought they could escape, that they could run away with millions. But they were wrong. I had allowed them to believe they had won, to think they were free. But freedom, I knew, is an illusion. Their every move was being tracked. Their every conversation was monitored. They were mine now, whether they realized it or not. They would work for me, repay their debt, and in time, they would understand the true meaning of consequences. And yet, as I watched them from afar, I couldn't help but feel a strange sense of satisfaction. Not because of the power I held over them, but because I had kept my word. I had promised them consequences for their actions, and I had delivered. But more than that, I had learned something about myself in the process. Betrayal stings. It cuts deeper than anything I had ever known. But the real strength lies in being able to forgive. It wasn't revenge that drove me, it was justice. And justice, as I've come to understand, is more than just punishment. It's about ensuring that those who wrong you face the consequences, but also allowing them a chance at redemption, if they truly deserve it. So here we are, a man who has turned betrayal into victory, and a lesson learned. Trust is a fragile thing, but once it's broken, the game is never really over. Thank you for joining me in this journey. If you want to hear more life stories, please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more videos.